a scientist is growing bacteria, starting with a culture of 5 bacteria. Now remember, bacteria grow by multiplying. That's why they grow exponentially. So remember, a linear model means that they're growing, like we're just adding a number, the same number every time, right? So if I say like, we're just adding 5 students every time, then that's linear, right? We just, with every minute, we get 5 more students. But this, we're not growing linearly, we're growing exponentially, so we're multiplying. So we take whatever we start with and we multiply it by some number, whether it's doubling just by multiplying by 2 or 3, or whether it's multiplying by like 1.5 or even 1.237, whatever, right? Bacteria are multiplying every hour. So our time here is hours. So after 2 hours, there's 14 bacteria. How many bacteria will be present after 10 hours? So let's write our basic exponential function, y equals ab to the x, and then we know that our initial value is 5. So we started out with 5 bacteria, and we don't know what our b value is because we don't know our growth rate, which again is really the way most science works. Okay, so we start out with 5 bacteria, and then every hour it grows by multiplying by some number. Now we do know that after 2 hours, so when time equals 2, the bacteria equals 14. So when x equals 2, y equals 14. So now I can plug that into my function and see what this equals. So when x equals 2, y equals 14. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and divide both sides by 5. And I get 14/5 equals b squared. Now remember, a lot of these are just not pretty, okay? So because growth rate isn't pretty, bacteria don't typically grow in this very beautiful thing. So you're going to get really weird numbers. That's okay. Now we're going to take the square root of both sides, or we can just, remember that this is the same as raising it to the 1/2 power. And that's probably what I'm going to do in our calculators. There is a square root button, but I think it's just as easy to raise it to the 1/2 power. So we're going to do 14/5 to the 1/2 equals b. So we're going to pull out our calculators here. And we're going to do parentheses 14 divided by 5 to the 1/2. And this is the easiest way to do a square root. Remember, there is a square root button here, and in the math menu there is an nth root button that you can use, but why? Okay, so here's your b value. Our b value is 1.6733200053. And so you might be tempted to just round this to 3 decimal places and be done, but remember, exponential functions grow quickly. So if you round a number and then you use that calculation later, it's going to throw your calculations off. So let's go ahead and store this. We're going to store alpha b. I'm going to keep this as b. So that's my value. And now it asks, what is the population going to be after 10 years? So this is my growth rate. So this is b to the 10th, not 10 years, sorry, 10 hours. B to the 10th is going to equal this number, and then I multiply it by how many I started with, which was 5, and that's going to be 860.5184. Now, do I report that number, 860.5184, because you're saying, well, you always tell me 3 decimal places, but can there be part of a bacteria? No, bacteria are like a living thing. So you have 1 bacteria or you have 0 bacteria, right? So we're going to call this 860 bacteria. You could round up to 861, but truly there's not 861 bacteria. There's like 1 bacteria is in the works, right? It's like got 860 and then another bacteria is like forming, but it's not there yet. So there's 860 bacteria after 10 hours.